welcome. It's a Monday. Let's just all take a moment to absorb that. It's a Monday. It's a Monday, no longer a Sunday. I was saying to some friends earlier today, I feel like sometimes Mondays just take a profound amount of courage because the world awaits us on a Monday. It's not like it doesn't await us on a Saturday, a Sunday, a Friday. It just feels different on a Monday, wouldn't you say? So on this Monday, I was doing some mental processing. Hi Karen, I was doing some mental processing from last Wednesday. Hi Carla. So the topic that we're going to talk about today is it's time for us to acknowledge that we are seen and that we are valuable, and to recognize the ways that we are like wandering invisible in the wilderness, trying to hide. So I have a Bible story for this, but I wanted to bring it back to a wraparound for a minute. The wraparound is this. Last Wednesday, I work with my church. I volunteer. Hi Bev. Hi Melinda. I work with my church with, I work with fourth grade girls. And one thing I didn't know is that fourth grade girls have a ton of energy around 6 o'clock at night. They are just berserk. Now I know boys because I have two of them and I know their energy, but girls are a different kind of crazy. They just are crazy. Well, at church, we are doing the names of God. We're studying the names of God. Hi, Rachel. And last week's name was El Roy, R-O-I, El Roy, which is the God who sees. And as I was talking about the God who sees with my girls, we were talking about ways that they felt like God had seen them during the week. And what became very clear to me really, really quickly was that they actually were ascribing this view of a shameful looking, like the things that God had seen them do that was like a cosmic Santa Claus, the ways that he had seen them being on the naughty list versus being on the nice list. And the thing about working with children, whether it's in my clinical practice or it's at Wednesday night church programming, is that the heart of children usually gives us a direct insight over the very real heart of us as grown people. So I started to think, oh my goodness, how often is that not how I view God seeing me? And that same sort of shamery, we will call it. Well, it brought me back to, I wanted to look at one of the verses where God is known as the God who sees, which is in Genesis chapter 16. And I'm going to paraphrase it this way for you. Here's what's happening. You have Sarah, known as Sarai, and Abraham, known as Abram, this time, and they are of old age. And they have been waiting and waiting to conceive a child because God had promised them that their offspring would be as multiple as the stars or the stars of the sky or the grain of sand on the earth. But they are advanced in age and they are still barren. There is no child. And I want to just get into the nitty-gritty of what that would have been like for Sarah. You see, she and Abraham are a nomadic people who are just kind of, they are wanderers, right? With their flock and their people. They don't have a city, which is their city. They wander. They're nomadic. They don't have a lot under them as far as possessions, right? And the thing about Sarah is that, you guys, you realize back in this day and time, Sarah's only identity came from her having a male heir. That was her identity, is her having a male heir. And if she's advanced in age, and so is Abraham, you know that she's doing what we as adults do. She's thinking about the future, and she's thinking, there's no heir. And if Abraham dies, it's a death sentence for me because I have no one to watch over me. I have no one with which to enfold me. And so she did what so many of us do. She takes matters by her own hand and she says, well, then I'm going to fix this problem. God has not fixed this problem. Shame on you. Who says shame? Me. I do it all the time. Right? I know what I want. You just need to listen and follow through. Well, in that sense, God hadn't, right? In that sense, God hadn't yet. And so she says, you know what? I have this Egyptian slave by the name of Hagar. All right, husband of mine, go and sleep with her. The Bible is full of just some gross things, but this is morally gross. She says, go sleep with her and make her pregnant, and we will take that child as our own, and I will have an heir. I will have an heir, right? This problem will be taken care of. And so Abraham, I wonder what that conversation really looked like. Maybe not. Does the dutiful servant thing for his wife. And sure enough, Hagar gets pregnant. There's a part of me that wonders, was Hagar a willing participant? I could go all places in here. But there's a part of me that thinks her body was used. Her body was used. Her body wasn't hers. It wasn't her free will. In many ways here, Hagar was victimized. Let's not lose sight of that detail here, okay? She was drawn into this act, not by her own choosing, because she's a slave. She gets impregnated, and it says in scripture that she looked upon Sarah with contempt. Can we have some understanding about why she might have looked with contempt? And things shifted within Sarah, and Sarah saw that contempt. She saw how she had attempted to take control of the situation. And suddenly, this situation that she scripted with her own doing seems so less than satisfactory, seems so threatening, seems so scary. She sees the contempt and she acts harshly in response to Hagar. And I don't know what exactly that looked like, but I can imagine that it was abuse, that it was emotional, it might have been physical. Sarah thought her promise was undone, and her own hands had not brought the promise that she had sought after. And so she dealt harshly with Hagar, so harshly that Hagar, pregnant belly, goes off into the wilderness. You guys, wilderness for Hagar was a place of death. Hagar thought she was going off to die because dying would be better than the injustices of how she was being treated in her household. The wilderness is a place of hiding. It's a place of being lost, not a place of being found. And you can imagine there she sits in the desert waiting for death to come to her and this unborn child. And an angel of the Lord comes to her and he says to her something quite amazing. He asks her a question, and the question says, Hagar, where are you going and where have you come from? I want you to hear that for a minute. It's not as if the angel didn't know the abuse that she had come from and the death that she was walking towards. I think he's asking a more profound question. He's saying, Hagar, can you see that there is no part of your life past, present, or future that is unknown to the one God who sees you. He's seen the brokenness. He's seen the pain. And from that, Hagar, he's about to make you a promise. And he goes on and tells her that the Lord has heard every affliction. He tells her what her son is going to look like. And he tells her that she too is going to have more offspring that can be numbered. He tells her the promise. And I want you to stop and I want you to ponder for yourself this day, just like I asked these quirky 4th grade girls, where has God seen you? Where has he met you today, the last few days, in your place of maybe it's wilderness and maybe it's abundance, but where has God seen you? Because he sees all the past, he sees every present, and he sees into the future. And not only does he see, but he hears your affliction. He finds you in your wilderness places. He doesn't leave you alone. He seeks you out. He finds you and he sees you. And this is where Hagar's response is set. It's this. Her response says, "You are a God of seeing." For she said, "Truly here I have seen him who looks after me." Truly here have I seen the God who looks after me. Her story is our story. We will suffer many injustices. We will suffer many abuses. We will suffer things that seem unfair, not right. We will have disease. We will watch our children's spirits be broken. We will feel as if we frequently do not have enough or are not enough. And there is never a time where we will go unseen and our afflictions remain uncared for. To me, that is some very, very good news on a Monday that requires courageous acts. I want to leave you on this final thought. It's one I gave my friends. It says this: we as a body are called into courage, because from the outflow of courage comes the ability to encourage others. You see, it doesn't land with us. Hagar wasn't the end point. Hagar gave birth to Ishmael, and the line went on and on and on. And you see, we are not the end point ever. We are the outflow. We get to be the outflow of his affliction for and affection for us. This is some very good news on a Monday. Go out and be courageous. Start by being courageous. And if this touched you in any way, shape, or form, please leave a comment, because I will be honest with you, with your comments, this has more visibility for more friends. And you know what? If I'm going to be courageous, I want it to be an overflow to encourage others. Encourage. So be encouraged. Much love to you, Facebook friends.